In a bustling town nestled between towering mountains, there lived a wealthy merchant named Armin. He was known far and wide for his vast fortune, owning countless ships, warehouses filled with spices, silk, and precious gems. He prided himself on being one of the richest men in the land. However, despite his wealth, Armin was never content. He constantly sought more money, more fame, and more possessions. One day, as Armin walked through the market, he overheard a group of travelers speaking of a wise hermit who lived high in the mountains. "They say the hermit knows the secret to true happiness," one of the travelers whispered. Intrigued, Armin decided he must find this hermit. If anyone could teach him how to achieve lasting happiness, it was this wise old man. With determination, Armin set off on a journey to the mountains, convinced that once he learned the hermit's secret, he would finally feel fulfilled. The journey was long and treacherous. Armin, unused to hardship, found himself struggling through the steep paths and cold winds. Yet he pressed on, driven by the thought of discovering the key to eternal happiness. After days of travel, Armin finally reached the hermit's small, humble dwelling. The hermit, an old man with a kind face and worn clothes, greeted Armin warmly. "What brings you here, young man?" the hermit asked. "I've heard that you know the secret to happiness," Armin said. "I've come a long way to learn it from you. I am wealthy beyond measure, but no matter how much I acquire, I never feel truly happy. I want to know what will bring me lasting contentment." The hermit smiled gently. "Happiness, you say? Many seek it, but few truly understand it. Come, stay with me for a few days, and perhaps you will find what you seek." Though Armin was eager to learn the secret immediately, he agreed to stay. The first day, the hermit asked Armin to help him with simple tasks, collecting firewood, fetching water from the stream, and tending to the small vegetable garden. Armin found these tasks beneath him, but he did them anyway, believing they were part of the path to happiness. On the second day, the hermit took Armin to the edge of the mountain, where they sat in silence, watching the sun rise over the valley. The sky lit up in hues of pink and gold, and the world below them seemed so peaceful and still. Armin, however, grew restless. "Is this it?" he asked. "Is watching the sunrise the secret to happiness?" The hermit chuckled softly. "Patience, young man. Happiness cannot be rushed." As the days passed, Armin began to notice something peculiar. Though the hermit's life was simple, he had no wealth, no possessions beyond what was necessary. He radiated a quiet joy and contentment that Armin had never felt. The hermit's days were filled with small, meaningful tasks, and he seemed genuinely happy, even without the luxury Armin was accustomed to. On the fifth day, Armin could no longer contain his frustration. "Hermit, I've been here for days, doing menial tasks and waiting patiently, but you still haven't told me the secret to happiness." The hermit smiled kindly. "Tell me, Armin, when you were collecting firewood, how did you feel?" Armin frowned. "I felt bored. I was thinking about how much time I was wasting on such a small task." "And when we sat together at the sunrise?" the hermit asked. "I felt restless," Armin admitted. "I kept wondering what the point of it all was." The hermit nodded thoughtfully. "And now, how do you feel?" Armin paused, reflecting. "I feel frustrated. I don't understand why you haven't told me the answer yet." The hermit stood up and motioned for Armin to follow him. They walked to a nearby field, where wildflowers swayed gently in the breeze. "Armin, the secret to happiness isn't something I can simply tell you. It is something you must discover for yourself. But I will share this with you. True happiness is found not in wealth, fame, or possessions, but in appreciating the small, simple moments of life. It is found in being present, in being content with what you have, and in finding purpose in everyday tasks." Armin was silent, pondering the hermit's words. He realized that throughout his life, he had always been chasing the next big thing, never pausing to appreciate what he already had. He had been so focused on acquiring more wealth that he had forgotten to enjoy the simple pleasures, like watching a sunrise or completing a task with care. The hermit continued, "The more we desire, the more we distance ourselves from happiness. Contentment comes when we stop chasing and start being present in each moment. Wealth is not the problem, but our attachment to it is." As they walked back to the hermit's dwelling, Armin noticed the beauty around him in a way he hadn't before, the way the wind rustled the leaves, the sound of birds singing, and the warmth of the sun on his skin. For the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of peace. The next morning, Armin prepared to leave. He thanked the hermit for his wisdom, feeling lighter and more grounded than when he had arrived. "I understand now," he said. "Happiness isn't something you chase, it's something you find when you stop chasing." The hermit smiled. "Exactly. Remember, happiness isn't in the wealth you accumulate, but in how you live each day." Armin returned to his bustling town with a changed heart. Though he still managed his business and his wealth, he no longer let it consume him. He found joy in the simple things, sharing a meal with friends, tending to his garden, and appreciating each moment as it came. And as the years passed, Armin became known not only as a wealthy merchant, but as a man of great wisdom and contentment. People from all over would come to ask for his advice, and he would tell them the same thing he had learned from the hermit. Happiness isn't found in seeking more, but in appreciating what you already have. Moral: true happiness is not found in wealth or success, but in the contentment and appreciation of life's simple moments.